saying, this guy isn't so bad. We survived the Iraq War. We survived Ronald Reagan. We'll survive this. Just go on about your business. And I think people get a sense that when you try to argue for continuity, somehow or another, the message is one of mitigation and diminution, whereas I think it actually accentuates the task that we have to now confront.
Right. You wrote, and I love this, that we think the contrast of a burnished past allows us to see the burning present. But all it does is keep the fire going and growing. Confronting the indecent Nixon, Roth imagines a better McCarthy. Confronting the indecent Trump, Nixon. At no point does he recognize that he's been fighting the same monster all along and losing. Roth, you write, doesn't see how the rehabilitation of the last monster allows the front line to move rightward, the new monster to get closer to the territory being defended.
American liberals and Democrats have been fighting the right for a very long time. We've had different iterations of that right wing. Barry Goldwater, Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, Newt Gingrich, George W. Bush, and now Donald Trump. And at every turn, there is an insistence that this is like something we've never seen before. And part of the reason for that insistence is a sense that this is how you rally the base. But even if we vanquish Newt Gingrich or George W. Bush, the terrain on which we're fighting is getting closer and closer to what the right ultimately wants.
Is it because liberals and Democrats are constantly making this an issue of an individual rather than a web of ideas?
Absolutely. The comparison that I try to invoke is someone like FDR or Abraham Lincoln. These were realignment presidents. Presidents who don't just run against a candidate. They don't even just run against a party. They run against a whole nexus or web of ideas and institutions. Then they really want to take it out entirely and create a different kind of a country. When liberals make the issue Richard Nixon's individual perfidy or Ronald Reagan's distance from factual reality or George W. Bush's lack of command of the facts of what's going on, they are signaling to everybody, just get this guy out. And maybe some of his people as well, and all will go back to normal. And I think these are missed opportunities. You could imagine saying that Donald Trump and his treatment of women and his views on Muslims and people of color and his views on these are not singular aberrations. These are in fact connected to a whole set of ideas that have really governed us now going back at least to the 1970s and 1980s, and that he reveals to us everything that has been wrong in this country for an extraordinary long time, and that in going after him, we are going to go after all of that. And instead, he gets cordoned off as this mess of a human being, but we forget to see how that mess is emblematic of just a much, much larger mess that is this country.
I assume that people run against character because it helps them win elections.
I think it's dawning on a lot of people that it's not enough just to win an election. You have to transform the country in a more fundamental way.
Structural changes,
Absolutely.
Not just a different coat of paint.
Yeah, exactly. One can see the strategic benefits, again, in the short term, but the task of liberalism and the left becomes ever narrower. If America's already great, why do you need to increase taxes, redistribute wealth, to confront problems of schooling? What do you say about the fact that the United States is now more segregated than it was under Ronald Reagan? All of the factual tasks that are at hand that liberals traditionally would have wanted to take up suddenly are swept off the table.